Welcome dear students. So today we are going to start second chapter of our 12th standard physics. So in today's class we will going to discuss about following topics. First of all, we will have a discussion on electric potential energy, followed by electric potential and potential difference, electric potential due to a single point charge, electric potential due to a group of charges, electric potential due to an electric dipole, equipotential surfaces and their properties. So dear students, in 11th standard already we have come across about the concept of so-called potential energy. So there we studied about the concept of gravitational potential energy and elastic potential energy. So what basic idea we are already having about this concept of potential energy is that in a given system there will be the presence or existence of a force field. In presence of that force field, we will going to move a given test object against the existing force without accelerating by applying the external force opposite to the existing force, and hence we will going to do work externally, and the same amount of the external work appears as potential energy. So this is the concept of potential energy. In our case, since we are studying about the electric system, so here I have taken a source charge as positive charge Q. In presence of its electric field and electric force, I have taken another positive test charge, this Q naught. So in presence of this source charge Q, its electric field and electric force, I have taken a test charge as Q naught, and I want to move this test charge from point A till point B in presence of electric force and electric field due to this source charge. So as the concept itself telling us that potential energy will be simply the amount of work done by the external force in moving this test charge starting from point A to point B without accelerating it. So now what we can say, amount of work done by the external force on a positive test charge in moving it from one point to another point in the electric field of source charge. So this we will going to calculate mathematically. So work done will be what? Total work done will be simply the integration of small work done. So here also we have chosen one intermediate state, that while bringing the test charge from point A to point B, I have taken the midway somewhere here. So my point charge is this test charge is somewhere here. At this point I am very sure, since source charge is positive, test charge is also positive. So what type of force it will going to experience? It will going to experience electrostatic repulsive force along this positive x direction. Now if I want to move this test charge towards negative x direction starting from point A till point B, so what I need to do, I have to apply external force in this direction, that is opposite to the direction of electric field, and this magnitude of external force should be same as that of electric force itself, because we have to move this test charge without any acceleration, that is with zero acceleration, so that we will going to apply external force. Amount will be same as that of electric force, but direction will be opposite to this electric force. So now we will going to calculate the work done in moving this test charge starting from point A to point B in presence of electric field or force due to this source charge. So this WAB will be integration of small work done dW. Integration point, initial point is A, final point is point B. So integration lower limit A to B. Work done is what? Work done is simply the force into displacement. So which force? External force is doing work here. So F external dot dr. So force into displacement. Small work done mean force into small displacement. So it is the dot product of force into displacement. So what we can say here, the force, electric force will be equal to what? By definition of electric field, force will be equal to what? test charge into electric field. Force will be Q naught into E. It is acting on the test charge due to the source charge along positive x direction. Now it is, since it is radially outward and tend to accelerate the test charge, but we do not want this acceleration. That's why, to prevent this acceleration, equal and opposite external force. So equal and opposite how much? Since it was Q naught times E, so this will be minus Q naught times E. Minus simply indicating that external force must be in the direction opposite to that of electric repulsive force. So that's why equal and opposite external force minus Q naught E has to applied on the test charge. So now the total work done by the external force on the test charge in moving it from A to B in the presence of electric field without acceleration gets stored as potential energy. So this is the concept of potential energy itself, that whatever work we are doing with the help of external force in moving the object without accelerating simply get stored or appear as potential energy. So that's why this is the important thing, that total work done by the external force itself gets stored as potential energy, mean it will going to appear as potential energy of the given system. So that's why work done will be equal to, now since this was external force, but numerically speaking we have idea of the expression of this electric force from Coulomb's law. So that's why better we should express this external force in terms of electric force or Coulombic force, since their direction is opposite. So that's why we can write, in place of F external I should write F electric, but it should be minus. So that's why I have replaced here minus, and this F is what? This is electrostatic repulsive force, Coulombic force. So it will be negative of, now F external replaced by electrostatic force. So F electric dot dr will be equal to what? The same amount of work done will going to appear as potential energy. So this work done in moving the test charge from point A to point B without acceleration will going to appear as potential energy, since we have started the test charge from point A till point B we have brought it. So that's why this amount of work done will be equal to the change in potential energy, that is potential energy difference. Difference always it will be potential energy at final point minus potential energy at initial point. So that's why the amount of work done in moving the test charge from point A to point B without accelerating it simply stored as potential energy, and it is known as potential energy difference here, because we have taken the initial point as A, this final point as B. So this gets stored as potential energy. It will be simply the potential energy difference will be equal to potential energy at final point minus potential energy at initial point. So this is the basic concept of potential energy, that in presence of some force or field we will going to move the test charge. So already there will be some electric force will be there. Against that electric force we will going to apply external force, and this external force must balance this electric force. That is, overall there should not be any net force, just we have to move it without accelerating it. So the work done by this external force, it simply get appear as potential energy. Since we have taken 2 points here, A and B, so this will be potential energy difference, and potential energy at final point minus potential energy at initial point. So what conclusion we can draw here? First point, the equation shows that, the previous equation shows that the work done in moving a test charge Q naught from point A to another point B along any path AB in an electric field due to the source charge depends only on the position of these points. So it simply depends on what? It simply depends on the final point and the initial point. So it depends on the positions of these points and is independent of what? Actual path. So it does not depend on the path followed between point A and B. So what we can say, this work done from the previous equation, this is simply path independent. It simply depends on the initial and final positions. So second point, what we can say, the line integral of electric field. So work done, what we have seen, that work done will be simply integration of force into displacement. Now if we take this test charge as unit positive charge, that is let's say +1 coulomb, so in that case force will be equal to what? Force will be charge into electric field. Force will be Q into E. So work done was force into displacement, so we can write force will be charge into electric field. Since charge is 1 coulomb itself, so force we can replace by electric field. So we will say the line integral of electric field under the case when the test charge we have taken as unit positive charge is path independent, because work done itself numerically equal to what? It is line integral. Line integral simply means what? Like f dot dl or f dot dr. So f numerically equal to what? Q into E. Now Q I have taken as unit positive, so Q is 1, so f we can replace by electric field itself. So that's why electric field into displacement vector, it is known as line integral of electric field. So what conclusion we can draw from this? First point, that line integral of electric field under the case when test charge taken as unit positive charge is path independent. Third thing, whenever the work done by any field or force is path independent, that force or field is known as conservative field or force. So that's why, since in our case what type of field we have? Electric field, so we will call that electric field is conservative field. So this also we have studied in 11th standard about the concept of conservative and non-conservative forces or field. So whenever the work done is path independent, then we will say that field or force will be conservative field or force respectively. Next point, what we can say, line integral of electric field over a closed path is 0. Since we have seen that, let I call initial point is A, final point is B. That is, I want to move my test charge from point A to point B. We have already studied that this work done will be path independent. Let I call this is point A, this is point B. So from point A to point B, I have done some work. So work done in moving from point A to B. Now, so here in first case, the initial point was A, final point is B. Now in second case, let I have to move it back from B to A. So again it will be work. So first work done was what? Work done from A to B. Now work done from B to A. Already we are knowing that this work done does not depend on the path followed. It simply depends on the final and initial points. Okay, so that's why if we take the closed path, that is we start the test charge from point A, we move it till B, then again starting from B, we move it from any path and we reach point A. So such type of path we will call as closed path. So whatever work we have done from in moving the charge from A to B, so WAB will be simply equal, but it will be simply negative as work done from B to A, because here final, in first case final point was B, initial was A. In second case, the initial point is B and final point is A. So that's why if we talk about the work done along a closed path, so it will be 0, and hence what we can say from the second point, that if the work done is 0, what we can say, line integral of electric field, that is nothing but the work done over a closed path, that is initial point A, final point B, again B to A. So this is a closed path and it will be 0. So work done or line integral of electric field over a closed path is 0. This is another condition satisfied by conservative field. So mathematically speaking, we can write that E dot dl vector over a closed surface, closed path, will be equal to what? It will be 0. So E dot dl over a closed path will be simply 0. This is the property of so-called conservative field or forces. Now, next we have concept of electric potential. So, physically speaking, electric potential is what? Electric potential is a physical quantity which determines the flow of charges from one body to another body. That is, if I place any particular charge, a point charge I am placing in a particular field. So, in along which direction will it going to flow? From which point to which point? So, this direction of flow of charge from one body to another body, it is determined by this so-called electric potential. So electric potential is a physical quantity which determines the flow of charges from one body to another body. Second thing, what we can say, it is a physical quantity that determines the degree of electrification of a body. Mean how much a body could be electrified. Mean how much charge can be given to a body. Later on, mathematically, we will going to have the expression which will confirms that electric potential is directly proportional to the charge contained by that body. Mean if we know the electric potential, we can simply tell about the degree of electrification, the extent of electrification, the amount of charge. So now how we can define electric potential? Similar to electric potential energy. So electric potential at a point in the electric field is defined as the work done. In the same way, it will be also work done in moving a unit positive charge but without acceleration, without accelerating it, from infinity to that point against the electrostatic force irrespective of the path followed. So here, first thing, we will start the charge from infinity, mean initial point, it will be now infinity. We will going to bring the unit positive charge from infinity to a given point. Against what? Against the electrostatic force, electrostatic repulsive or attractive force, and it must be moved without any acceleration. So electric potential at a point in the electric field is defined as the work done in moving a unit positive charge starting from infinity to a given point in presence of electrostatic field or force without accelerating the charge irrespective of path followed. Any path you can choose, no problem in that. So according to definition, what we can say, that you just compare this electric potential with that electric potential energy. So in this case, the point A, initial point A, we have fixed at where? We have fixed it at infinity. So for studying electric potential, we have taken the initial point as infinity. Similarly, the second point, so this is initial point, this is final point. So B point we have taken at any distance r from the source. So this r distance we have taken our observation point, which is at a separation of r from the source charge. So under this circumstance, what we can say, this electric potential, it is represented by capital V. It will be equal to what? It will be simply equal to work done in moving the unit positive charge starting from infinity to a particular point. So initial point, now infinity, final point B. Earlier it was A and B, but now point A already fixed where? It is fixed at infinity. So electric potential will be work done per unit test charge. So this will be work done for a unit positive charge. Numerically, whenever we divide this total work done by this test charge Q naught, so it will be the work done per unit test charge that we want numerically, so as to calculate the expression for this so-called electric potential. So electric potential is nothing but the work done per unit test charge starting from infinity to a particular point without accelerating the charge particle. So this is the very common expression. Time and again we will going to use this. V will be equal to W divided by Q. V will be equal to what? W divided by Q. Work done per unit test charge. So this expression you must remember. So SI unit of electric potential, we are knowing that it will be volt or say joule per coulomb or Newton per coulomb into meter. Electric potential at a point is 1 volt. How we can define using this expression? You just replace every physical quantity by its SI unit and then put everywhere unity. So 1 volt, 1 joule, 1 coulomb. So this electric potential is said to be 1 volt when 1 joule of work is being done in bringing 1 coulomb of charge from infinity to a given point in presence of electrostatic force or field. So in this way we can define this 1 joule of this 1 volt of electric potential. It will be the 1 joule of work done in moving 1 coulomb of charge from infinity to that point in presence of electric field. Now next is electric potential difference. So what is the meaning of electric potential difference? Here electric potential difference between any 2 points in the electric field is defined as the work done in moving. So again conditions are same. We need not to accelerate the charge and it should be unit positive charge from one point to another point. So here the first point is not the infinity, it is simply any point. So from one point to other against the electrostatic force irrespective of the path followed. So what is the difference between electric potential and electric potential difference? In case of electric potential, the initial point mandatorily we have to take as infinity. So it will be a reference point and it will be always we have to take it as infinity. But in case of electric potential difference, we can move the given test charge from any point, initial point to the final point, okay, without accelerating it in presence of the electrostatic force. So same thing we will going to use here. So here, since the name itself suggesting that it is electric potential difference, so it will be electric potential at final point minus electric potential at initial point. So potential difference itself mean, so delta V means what? Change in potential. So change in potential means electric potential at final point minus electric potential at initial point. By definition it will be what? It will be simply the work done per unit test charge. So work done in moving the test charge from A point to B point divided by the test charge. So that's why it will be for a unit positive charge. Whenever we divide total work done divided by any test charge, so this quantity, this right hand side will be what? It will be the work done per unit test charge. So this will be simply the electric potential difference. So what we can conclude here, electric potential as well as potential difference, they are scalar quantities. Electric potential at infinity, it will be 0. That's why we treat it as a reference point. Mathematically also in the next slide it will be clear. So for the time being you just remember electric potential at infinity, it will be 0. That is the only reason we treat the infinity as a reference point, because something, if something is 0, we can treat it as reference point. Next is electric potential near isolated positive charge will be positive. So whenever the source charge is positive, electric potential value will be positive, because this is a scalar quantity only. So if source charge positive, potential will be positive. Similarly, if the source charge is negative, the electric potential will be also negative. Now electric potential due to a single point charge. So we will going to construct an expression for the electric potential due to a single point charge. So if you have remembered that in case of electric field also we construct the similar expression, that was electric field due to a point charge, and our answer was 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q divided by r square, and direction will be radially outward for the positive source charge, radially inward for the negative source charge. So now we will going to construct the expression for electric potential due to a single point charge. So for that we have taken a source charge as positive, so electric field will be radially outward. in presence of this electric field, let I have taken this Q naught as the test charge, which I want to bring starting from infinity to a particular point B. So I will start moving this test charge from infinity to the observation point B. So initial point is what? Infinity. Final point is what? B. So in presence of electric force and electric field due to source charge, I want to move my test charge starting from infinity to point B without accelerating it. So what I need to do? So here, for simplicity, I have taken any intermediate situation, that is, while bringing the test charge from infinity to point B, let I call in the midway my test charge, which is somewhere point P. So at point P, you just tell me, since this source charge is positive as well as this test charge is positive, so what type of force we expect? We expect electrostatic repulsive force. On this test charge, force will be along this direction, positive x-axis direction. How much force? Q naught times E. So this electrostatic force will be repulsive in nature and will be along positive x direction. It want to repel the test charge. But what we want to do? We want to move the test charge from point infinity to point B. That is, against this force, we want to move this test charge. So for that purpose, we have to apply external field along negative x direction. Along negative x direction, just opposite to the direction of repulsive electrostatic repulsive force, and amount will be same because we do not want any acceleration on this test charge. So for that purpose, we have taken the external force along this direction. So what we can say here, this construction should be very clear. This is source charge. So due to this positive source charge, electric field will be radially outward. This is point B, that is point of observation. This is initial point infinity. From here to here, we have to move the test charge without accelerating. In the midway, for the purpose of calculation and integration, I have taken this P point as the intermediate situation. So from P to Q, I will first calculate the small amount of work done in displacing the test charge against this electrostatic repulsive force by a small displacement of dx. Then I will simply going to integrate the expression from infinity to the point of observation, that is B. And in this case, let I call this point P the intermediate observation point. It is at a separation of x from the source charge, while this observation point B, it is lying at a separation of little r or small r from the source charge. So what we can say, let Q naught be the test charge placed at point P at a distance x from the source charge. So in this case, the force Q naught times E is radially outward and tends to accelerate the test charge. So this repulsive force, it want to accelerate the charge, but we do not want this. So that's why we have to apply the force against this. And if we do not want acceleration, the force must balance this force itself. So that's why we will going to apply the external force. So to prevent this acceleration, equal and opposite force of how much magnitude? Q naught times E, and direction must be opposite to the electrostatic repulsive force. That's why negative Q naught times E has to be applied on the test charge. So now we will going to calculate the work done. So work done to move the test charge from point P to Q, that is intermediate situation we have taken, through a small displacement dx against the electrostatic repulsive force, that is Q naught times E. So by the definition of this work done will be force into dot displacement. So force is what? Force is Q naught times E dot dx. So force we have taken here electrostatic repulsive force. So it will be, but actually we have to calculate the work done by the external force. So till now we have just put Q naught E dot dx. So this is what? This is external force dot dx vector. So external force I have put in terms of electrostatic force itself, Q naught times E, because I have to apply this external force which should be equal in magnitude as this Q naught times E, but it must be opposite in the direction. So that's why Q naught times E dot dx. Now we have to solve the dot product. So A dot B will be equal to what? AB cos theta. Now what is the angle between electric field and dx? So electric field is radially outward while dx is radially inward. So that's why how much is the angle? Angle is 180 degree. So that's why dw will be equal to Q naught times E, A, like A B cos theta. So Q naught times E dx cos 180. Cos 180 will be always minus 1. So that's why minus Q naught E into dx. So this is the small amount of work done, but I want the total work done starting from infinity to the point B. So that's why this total work done will be what? Here we can put the value of this electric field. So electric field due to a point charge will be what? Q divided by 4 pi epsilon naught separation squared. So at point P, what I can say, this negative sign as it is, Q naught as it is, this electric field will be Q divided by 4 pi epsilon naught, and at point P separation is how much? X. So it will be x square into dx. So that's why we can say the total work done to move Q naught from A to B, that is A is what? Infinity to a particular separation R from the source charge. It will be what? It will be work done from infinity to B will be integration of all small work done, and individually small work done is what? Minus Q naught divided by 4 pi epsilon naught x square into dx. Integration start from where we are starting, infinity, till what point we have to bring it? We have to bring it at a separation of R. So that's why in this dx, this x should vary from infinity to a separation of small r with respect to the source charge. So here these things Q naught divided by 4 pi epsilon naught, it is constant only, so we can take it outside and we have to integrate 1 by x square into dx. So now you just recall the formula for integration. Since we know x raised to power n into dx integration will be equal to what? We have to increase the power by 1 and we have to divide it by the increased power, that is x raised to power n become x raised to power n plus 1 divided by n plus 1. So here how much power? X raised to power minus 2. So you add plus 1. So x raised to power minus 2 plus 1 divide by minus 2 plus 1 is what? Minus 1. So that's why it will be minus 1 divided by x. So then we have to put upper limit minus lower limit in place of this variable x. So here answer how much we have got? Minus 1 by x. After solving this integral, the answer will be minus 1 by x. Now since we are provided with limits, so we will put upper limit minus lower limit. So minus already outside, upper limit will be what? 1 divided by r, minus lower limit will be what? 1 divided by infinity. 1 divided by infinity is what? 0. So that's why we left with minus 1 by r. Here already minus, so minus become plus. So what we can obtain here, that work done will be simply equal to what? It will be, so what we want for electric potential, we want work done per unit test charge. So this test charge I have taken it on the left hand side because I want to calculate work done per unit test charge. So it will be what? Minus already become plus, Q divided by 4 pi epsilon naught into R, and this work done per unit test charge by definition of electric potential, this is nothing but the electric potential. So that's why I have successfully got the expression for so-called electric potential as a function of separation from the source charge as Q divided by 4 pi epsilon naught into separation, that is R. So V equals Q divided by 4 pi epsilon naught R. So dear students, you just compare V is inversely proportional to this separation R, whereas if we just compare the this expression with electric field due to a point charge. So their electric field was inversely proportional to square of separation, but here this is not square of separation, this is simply the separation. So here it is V is proportional to 1 divided by R. Now electric potential due to a group of point charges. So we will going to extend the previous concept. So instead of taking single point charge, we will going to have a distribution of charge, point charges. So for that we have take point of observation as P point, where we have placed this positive 1 coulomb charge. So now we want to calculate the electric potential due to group of point charges. So Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4 and hence so and so forth. We have taken so many charges. So now due to each charge I want to calculate the electric potential. So due to Q1 I have to express the potential here. Due to Q2 I will write the expression at point P. So this P is my observation point. So now using the previous expression we will write the net electrostatic potential at a point in the electric field due to a group of charges is the algebraic sum of their individual potential at that point. So at this point of observation P, the electric potential, total electric potential, net electric potential will be simply the electric summation of electric potential due to all individual charges. So due to all individual charges we will going to calculate the electric potential and we will have a algebraic sum, because this electric potential is simply a scalar quantity. So no need to bother about the direction. So here we can say V at P will be simply equal to V1 plus V2 plus V3 and so on so forth up to Vn, or we can write 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. Summation will start from the first charge to the last charge. So that's why it will be Qi divided by Ri. So here Ri is simply the separation of the individual charge, any ith charge from the point of observation. In the same way, in terms of position vector, if let I call this P point, observation point is having the position vector as R from the origin of the coordinate system, that is R vector is the position vector for this observation point. In that case what we can write, Ri is what? Ri will be the position vector of any ith charge. So using triangle of vector addition we can write R, this separation will be what? It will be simply the R vector minus Ri vector magnitude. Here we have to take just the magnitude. So that's why this Ri will be equal to what? R vector minus R ith vector magnitude. So what we can conclude here, electric potential at a point due to a charge is not affected by the presence of other charges. It is not affected, like if we want to calculate due to Q1, it will not going to affected by other charges. Similarly, potential, we have already discussed that potential is a function of what? As if we talk about the dependency of potential on separation, so V is proportional to what? 1 by R. While Coulomb's law, or if we talk about the electric field due to a point charge, they follow inverse square law, that is their dependency is 1 by R square. So this we have to take care, that potential is proportional to 1 by R, while electric field or Coulombic force, they are proportional to 1 by R square. Potential is a scalar quantity while force is a vector quantity. Although potential is called the potential at a point, it is actually equal to the potential difference between the point R and infinity, because absolute potential we can never calculate. For the calculation or determination of potential, we have to choose a reference point. And whenever we talk about electric potential, it confirms that the reference point we have taken as infinity. And whenever infinity, see, if we talk about the potential due to a point charge at infinity, so mean R is infinity. So something upon infinity is what? 0. So whenever we talk about electric potential, it is actually the potential difference, but it confirms that reference point we have taken at infinity, so that the potential there is 0. So something minus 0 will be what? It will be something only. So that's why here this V is actually potential difference. Next is electric potential due to an electric dipole. So like in the previous chapter we have studied about the electric field due to an electric dipole at its axial line and equatorial line. In the same way, now also we will going to calculate the expression for electric potential due to an electric dipole. So for that we have taken electric dipole means what? It consists of equal and opposite charges separated by a small separation. So let we call, we have the charges minus q plus q separated by 2l amount of distance. So what we can say, L plus L. This P point I have taken on the axial line. So at P point I want to calculate the expression for electric field. So this P point, it is lying at a separation of small x from the midpoint of this electric dipole system. So how we will going to calculate? Since we know this electric dipole is what? It is consisting of two equal and opposite point charges. Now due to a single point charge, I already knowing that this electric potential will be what? Charge divided by 4 pi epsilon naught separation. So that's why Vp due to Q positive. So potential at point P due to this positive Q will be what? It will be this charge, and sign also we have to take care, because electric potential being a scalar quantity, we need not to bother about the direction, but while calculating numerically we have to put the exact signs of this source charge. If positive you write positive, if negative you write negative. So potential at point P due to positive charge will be 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught charge divided by separation. It will not be separation square, it will be separation only. So Q divided by this is total is how much? X. If I subtract this L, how much length I will be left with? Separation will be B into P. So this BP separation I require. So that's why 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q divided by X minus L. Similarly, electric potential due to this another minus Q charge will be what? Observation point is P. So separation will be what? X plus L, and charge is what? Minus Q. So must we have to write here minus Q itself. So potential at Q also I have written. Since electric potential is a scalar quantity, so the net potential at the observation point will be simply the algebraic sum due to individual charge. So we have only two charges. So these two expressions we will going to simply add them up, and hence we will going to expression, it will be Q into 2L. L is simply what? 2L is what? Simply separation between the point charges, divided by 4 pi epsilon naught x square minus L square. Or what we know that Q into separation between 2 point charge, either charge into separation between them is what? It is known as electric dipole moment. So V at P, which is lying at axial point or axial line due to an electric dipole, is P divided by 4 pi epsilon naught x square minus L square. So this is the expression we have got. Now similarly, if the observation point is lying on the equatorial line, so what we will going to do? Now we will going to take the observation point on the equatorial line. So let I call, I have taken this Q point which is lying on what? Equatorial line. This line is bisecting this electric dipole system. So this is the equatorial line for this given electric dipole. So again 2L is the separation between the two charges. Let I call this Y is the separation of this midpoint to the observation point. So what I want to calculate? Electric potential at this point Q, which is lying on the equatorial line due to these 2 point charges which are consisting our electric dipole. So VQ due to positive Q, so due to positive Q, so it will be Q divided by 4 pi epsilon naught separation. So Q is positive Q divided by 4 pi epsilon naught separation will be what? BQ. Similarly, due to minus Q, it will be what? Minus Q divided by 4 pi epsilon naught separation will be A into Q. So using Pythagoras theorem, we can put the value of BQ and AQ. It will be what? It will be Y square plus L square. So when we switch the value, since see from this right angle triangle, these two right angle triangle, it is very clear from the symmetry AQ and BQ, they are simply equal in magnitude. So that's why what we can say, this net electric potential will be summation of the electric potential due to individual charge. So it will be what? Here it is positive, here negative. Now BQ and AQ, they are same only. So that's why this thing minus same thing will be 0. So what we can conclude, electric potential due to an electric dipole at its equatorial line is 0. So the net electric potential at a point in the electric field due to an electric dipole at any point on the equatorial line is 0. Now we are starting the important topic, that is equipotential surfaces. So as the name itself suggesting, that equipotential mean the potential is same, surfaces on some surface. So what are the equipotential surfaces? A surface at every point of which the potential due to charge distribution is same is called equipotential surface. Mean we will have a certain surface on every point of which the electric potential will be same only, it will be having same value. So for a uniform electric field, so many times we are asked to draw the pattern of so-called equipotential surfaces due to various charge configurations. So first is for a uniform electric field. So you must know how to draw the various equipotential surface due to uniform electric field. So first thing, when I call this uniform electric field, it tells me that uniform electric field is represented by parallel and straight lines. So these yellow parallel and straight line, they are representing what? They are representing uniform electric field. So whenever the electric field is uniform, these type of plane parallel surfaces, they will represent the individually this surface. Any point you take, it will be a equipotential surface due to this uniform electric field. So the idea is that you take any point on this surface, the electric potential value at each point due to this given uniform field will be same. In the same way, next surface I can draw somewhere here. So again, individual point on this lying on this second surface will also have the same potential value. Similarly here, so all these three, these are separate equipotential surfaces. So due to a uniform electric field, what type of surface we have? Plane equipotential surfaces. Now similarly, if we have an isolated charge, so due to an isolated charge, what type of surface we can draw? So let I call the source charge is any positive charge I have taken. So what we know, so first of all, to draw equipotential surface, we should know what are the pattern of electric field lines. So like in this case, we were knowing that electric field due to field lines due to an this electric field, uniform electric field, were uniform, this parallel and straight. Similarly, due to a positive charge, they will be radially outward like this. So these are the electric field lines. Now I have to draw the equipotential surface, mean any surface which will have same value of electric potential at every point of it. So you just tell me, since this electric field and say potential due to a point charge is function of what? Separation. So if I take any r, I take r equals 2 centimeter. So I calculate r equals 2 centimeter here, r equal 2 centimeter here. At each arrow mark, I have taken the observation point at r equal 2 centimeter and I calculated the value of potential. Since V depends only on this source charge divided by 4 pi epsilon naught into separation. Since the separation at each line I have taken as 2 centimeter, So you tell me, at all these points lying on these lines, whether the potential will be same or not. Yes, obviously it will be same, and hence this type of a circle, or in 3-dimensional we can say a spherical surface, will be the equipotential surface due to such point charge. So how we can draw this? Like this. At any separation you take, you have to draw the equipotential surfaces. So for an isolated charge equipotential surface, they are spherical. So here, one thing, while studying the properties, I'll explain this. You just observe that due to this uniform electric field, the equipotential surface, they have equal gaps, like they are parallel, they have equal gap. But you just see here, if we want to draw the equipotential surfaces at some constant gap, equal gap of electric potential value, that is electric potential difference. So initially these, see, this first sphere, second sphere, third sphere, they are more closer as compared to these one. So this we will going to discuss under the properties of equipotential surfaces. But for the time being, you just remember how to draw the equipotential surfaces due to various charge configuration or electric field. So now we have properties of equipotential surfaces. So first important property is what? No work is done in moving a test charge from one point to another point on an equipotential surface. That if we are given with any equipotential surface, let I have a point charge, this source charge as positive q. So what we have seen, that any spherical surface, any spherical surface of a given radius will be treated as a equipotential surface. Now let I want to move a test charge on this equipotential surface from one point to another point. So what this property is telling, no work is done, that is there will be no work. Mean, if I want to move this test charge starting from any point on this spherical surface, that is equipotential surface, due to a point charge, so I need not to do any work. This is said by this property of equipotential surface. How we can understand this? Since we know the definition of electric potential or electric potential difference. So this is what? This is work done in moving a test charge from A point to B point divided by the test charge. So since we know equipotential means what? At these 2 points, the initial point and final point, from where we want to move or bring the test charge from A to B. So since these 2 points, they are lying on equipotential surface, so what it confirms? That their potential value will be same, and hence VB minus VA will be what? It will be simply 0. Now you do the cross multiplication. So if A and B are 2 points on the equipotential surface, what we know? VB will be equal to VA. Put the value, do the cross multiplication. So since left hand side is 0, so work done divided by Q naught. Q naught cannot be 0. So WAB work done will be Q naught into 0. So that's why work done will be simply 0. This is most important point, that we need not to do any work in moving any test charge from one point to another point on any equipotential surface. It depends on the examiner that what type of surface, like equipotential surface, due to which configuration, which charge configuration he has given. But immediately you have to pick this point, that if the given surface is equipotential surface and you are asked to calculate the amount of work done in moving the test charge from any one point to another point lying on that equipotential surface, you directly put that the work done will be always 0. Why? Because here left hand side is 0. VB minus VA will be 0 because potential is same. That is the meaning of equipotential surfaces. Second important property is electric field is always perpendicular to the element DL of the equipotential surface. That is, if you take any small element on the equipotential surface, so what will be there? That electric field at that point will be always perpendicular. So how we can prove this? Since we know that work done will be equal to what? Force into displacement. If we take test charge as unit positive charge, so force will be what? Q into E. So Q is already 1, so no need to write this. So work done we can write as force into displacement, as well as we can write line integral of this electric field, because force is equal to what? Q naught into E. Q naught I have taken as 1 unit, that is 1 coulomb. So that's why E dot dl equals 0. Now what we know, A dot B vector is what? A B cos theta. So E dot dl vector will be what? E dl cos theta equals 0, because we already knowing that work done in moving a test charge from A to B on equipotential surface from this first property is 0. Now work done is what? Work done is force into displacement, or force will be equal to what? It will be unit positive charge, that is 1 into electric field. So line integral of electric field equals 0. Now E dot dl will be dl cos theta. Theta is what we can say? Electric field cannot be 0 because we have some charge configuration. So E will be non-zero. Also this dl, that small element, it will be also non-zero. So from this equation, since first quantity cannot be 0, second quantity cannot be 0, but it all in all this product has to be equal to 0, it confirms that this third quantity, that is cos theta, it has to 0. Now you just think that when is cos theta 0? When the theta is 90 degree. So theta is what? Theta is the angle between electric field and the small line element on the equipotential surface. So that confirms that electric field will be always perpendicular to the given element on the equipotential surface. Third property is what? Equipotential surfaces indicate region of strong or weak electric field. Since we know, so electric field is defined as the negative potential gradient. So this is the important relation between electric field and potential. You must remember this relation, that electric field and potential, how they are related. Electric field is equal to negative, we call this differentiation as gradient. What we call this? Gradient. So electric field is equal to negative gradient of electric potential. Gradient simply mean differentiation here. So E equals minus dV divided by dr. So when we do the cross multiplication, so what we will going to get? dr will be equal to what? Minus dV divided by E. So let I call this dV is what? dV is the potential difference. Let I call this potential difference when I am drawing various equipotential surfaces due to any charge configuration. Let I call this dV is constant. Let I call this 1 volt. After each 1 volt gap, I want to draw the equipotential surface. So since dV is constant on equipotential surface, so what we can say? This dr is what? Dr is simply the separation between the equipotential surface. So see, since numerator is constant, so numerically speaking, this separation between consecutive or successive equipotential surface is inversely proportional to the electric field. What it signifies? If electric field is high, if electric field is strong, means the separation between the successive equipotential surface, it will be less. Mean in such a region of strong electric field, this separation between the equipotential surface, it will be less. That is, equipotential surfaces in region of strong electric field will be nearer to each other. That is, already we have seen this thing when I drawn the equipotential surface due to a point charge. So I told you, near the point charge, the spherical surfaces, that is equipotential surfaces, they are close to each other. But as we go away, electric field decreases because separation increases. In that case, the equipotential surfaces, although we are drawing at the same gap of potential, but still they are away from each other because the electric field is decreasing as we are go away from the source charge. So what we can say, this separation between the equipotential surface is inversely proportional to the electric field strength. So if electric field is strong or large, dr will be small, that is the separation of equipotential surface will be smaller, and vice versa. So if the equipotential surfaces, they are the separation is smaller, means what? They are more crowded, they are nearer to each other, and electric field is weak, then the separation between equipotential surface will be larger and they will be away from each other. Next is two equipotential surface cannot intersect. Just similar to the electric field lines, they can never intersect, because if two equipotential surface intersect, so at the point of intersection they will going to give the two values of electric potential, which is not possible for a given particular point, because these functions, such functions are uniquely defined at every point. So this potential must have a single value at a particular point. So we can say the two equipotential surface, they can never ever intersect each other. So what we can say now, electric potential is a scalar quantity where potential gradient is a vector quantity. Dear students, this equation is very important. This is the connection between electric field and potential. You must mind, electric field is a vector quantity, but potential is a scalar quantity. So this you must analyze, that any vector can never be equal to a scalar. So for that purpose, this relation itself telling us this electric field is a vector quantity. This negative and this dV divided by dr, this differentiation simply telling us that how this electric potential will going to change as a function of separation. So dear students, whenever we are observing any change means it may increase or it may decrease. So there must be some direction, either it should increase or it should decrease. So this electric field, when we write negative gradient of potential, so this gradient of potential automatically become vector quantity. This is very important thing, that potential is scalar, but as soon as I take the gradient or differentiation of this potential, it tells me the direction of change. So that's why direction means it becomes a vector quantity. So electric field vector quantity, electric potential scalar quantity, but gradient of electric potential is a vector quantity, and from here this electric field we can say negative gradient of potential. So electric potential is a scalar quantity while gradient is a vector quantity. The negative sign of potential gradient shows that the rate of change of potential with distance is always against the electric field intensity. That is, let I take any point charge here, positive point charge. So electric field will be radially outward. But if I want to calculate the potential, so potential is a function of 1 by r. So potential near to this point charge will be high, as compared to if I go away, the potential keep on reducing. So electric field, see, due to any point charge, electric field is along this direction, let I call. So this is radially outward direction. But along this direction, if at each point I want to calculate the potential, so it is very sure that potential keep on decreasing. So what I can say, that along the direction of electric field, potential decreases at the maximum rate. You try to understand, due to any point charge, this is the direction of electric field due to positive point charge, radially outward. But along that direction, if you calculate, you set on calculating electric potential, so its value keep on reducing. So that's why we can say electric field is in the direction where the electric potential is changing, or we can say decreasing at the maximum rate. So that's why negative sign of potential gradient shows that the rate of change of potential with distance is always against the electric field intensity. That is, if electric field intensity increasing, electric field, like along the direction of electric field intensity, potential will going to decrease. So that is the meaning of this negative sign. Electric field, along electric field direction, potential will going to decrease. So that is the meaning of this. Okay, dear students, thank you.